thing that isn't meant for you. All right, Gemini, let's get into your reading. All right, the message that I have for you today is this, and it carries weight. This person in your life has finally broken open, and they did not see it coming. Something unbearable has been sitting inside of them, and the walls around it gave out. The realization hit them like a quiet storm, and nothing around them feels the same anymore. What they are feeling right now is not sadness alone. It goes much deeper than that. Looking at this connection clearly for the first time, they saw the wreckage their hands built. No one told them to feel this way. No one forced the mirror on them at all. Let us come in close today because this energy is heavy and it does not hold back. The first card we have for you is the Five of Cups, and it confirms everything. Five of Cups carries the weight of grief, and it tells me this person is drowning in regret. At this very moment, they are standing in the middle of what was lost, staring at it. This is not surface level guilt that fades by mourning. It is something deep and unshakable entirely. Every cold word they ever threw at you replays in their mind, and it stings them now. Those moments they chose silence over honesty, those memories sit heavy on them every single night. The emotional cost of their choices has piled up, and each ounce of it presses down harder. Five of Cups tells me that mourning lives at the center of them, raw and unfiltered completely. A part of them wants to reach backward through time, but they know it does not bend. What the cards show here is a person who finally stopped running, sat down, and looked inward. The grief is not borrowed or performed. It was earned through every moment they chose wrong over right. There is a deep stillness in this card, confirming they have accepted the pain as their own. The next card coming through is the Tower reversed, and this reveals the deeper truth here. Tower reversed confirms that the collapse did not happen overnight. It was slow and quietly ignored. Cracks formed in this foundation for months, and they told themselves every time it would hold. Every red flag their own behavior created, they dismissed it and pushed it under the surface. Their ego kept them standing inside a burning room, convinced somehow the heat was still normal. The reversal on this card tells me denial has ended and reality has broken through completely. Looking back at it all now, they cannot unsee what their choices actually cost this connection. Tower reversed does not appear casually. It only shows when the old structure has crumbled completely. What remains is raw honesty sitting in the open, and this person stands in it without armor. Feeling exposed terrifies them right now, because control was always the one thing they held on to. Losing that grip forced them to sit with the discomfort, and that discomfort revealed the truth. The weight of every lie they told themselves finally became too heavy, and it all came down. Their body knew the truth before their mind caught up, and now both are aligned in grief. The collapse was not something that happened to them. It was something they built with their own patterns. Following that, we see the Knight of Swords reversed, and this completes the full picture here. Knight of Swords reversed tells me this person used to charge through conflict, never pausing to feel. Moving fast on impulse was their signature, swinging hard with their words and ignoring the damage. Every reaction was armor over vulnerability. Every sharp comment was a wall built out of fear. This card in reverse says the swinging has stopped, and the silence hit them harder than anything. In that stillness, your voice echoed back to them, and they realized what they carelessly pushed away. The absence of you is louder than anything they ever said, and that silence is teaching them everything. The speed they once wore proudly as strength was fear in disguise, and they understand that clearly. Knight of Swords reversed confirms that aggression is over, and hiding is no longer their option. Sitting with themselves fully now, stripped of every defense, there is nowhere left for them to go. The combination of these three cards tells a story of someone unraveling, thread by fragile thread. Not because of anything you did to them, but because they finally saw what they did to you. I am not okay is not a performance coming from them. It is their most honest breath yet. Those words come from the deepest part of them, and every card on this table confirms it. Now let us talk about your side of this, because your experience matters just as deeply. You have been holding yourself together quietly, in ways that nobody around you fully understands. The exhaustion is not just physical. It lives in your chest and follows you into quiet moments. Waking up each day with the weight of a draining connection, that takes a toll over time. There were nights where sleep did not come easy, and your mind replayed everything on a loop. You kept asking yourself what you could have done differently, and that question haunted you constantly. No answer ever came that brought you peace, and the silence where clarity should live grew louder. The first card here is the Nine of Swords, and it speaks directly to your lived experience. Nine of Swords confirms sleepless nights, anxious thoughts, and a mind that refused to stop turning. The worry became your constant companion, sitting beside you even during the brightest daylight hours. You carried conversations in your head that never happened, rehearsing words you never got to speak. Mental weight from this connection pressed down on you, and you absorbed more than you admitted. Nine of Swords does not appear for the unbothered. It shows up for those who care deeply. Your caring was never the flaw, but it became the thing that wounded you the most. You gave emotional energy long after it stopped being earned, and your body kept every score. The tension lived in your shoulders, in your jaw, in the breath you held around them constantly. Nobody saw how much you were unraveling quietly, because your mask made everything look handled. That disguise was convincing to the outside world, but underneath it, you were barely staying afloat. Exhaustion like this does not come from one moment. It builds from hundreds of small, invisible wounds. The next card coming through is the Star reversed, and this one cuts into your healing. It tells me your hope took a serious hit, and you stopped believing things could feel different. There was a version of you before all of this, one that trusted openly and loved freely. That version feels distant now, like a memory you can reach for but never quite hold. You lost faith in the process and in love itself, and that emptiness changed your daily rhythm. The reversal on this card confirms your light dimmed gradually, not all at once, but in increments. You stopped dreaming about what this could become and started bracing for the next wound instead. Optimism you once carried into this bond got replaced by hypervigilance, always watching for the pain. Your nervous system learned to expect disappointment, and that expectation became a wall you never chose. It was not bitterness that built those defenses. It was survival, responding to repeated emotional harm. What stands out here is that you questioned your own worth, and that thought breaks my heart. You wondered if you were too much or too sensitive, and none of that was ever true. The questioning came from being made to feel over and over that your emotions were the problem. Each time you swallowed your truth to keep the peace, a small piece of you went quiet. Somewhere along the way, you stopped recognizing your own voice, and that loss is deeper than any argument. Following that, we have the Queen of Cups reversed, and this mirrors your experience with precision. It shows someone who poured love outward endlessly, giving until there was nothing left inside them. You gave from a well already running low, and kept giving because that is simply who you are. Your compassion became your blind spot, allowing behavior you should have walked away from much sooner. The reversal here tells me you slowly lost connection, piece by piece, to your own emotional needs. Caring for them became your default setting, and somewhere in that pattern, you forgot about yourself. The nurturing you offered was genuine and constant, but it was never returned at the same level. You felt the imbalance every single day, and you chose to ignore it because leaving felt harder. Walking away from love is never simple, especially when your whole identity wrapped around making it work. Absorbing their chaos as your own became routine, and it clouded every bit of your inner clarity. Your intuition told you something was off long ago, but you silenced it because you wanted this. Trusting yourself felt impossible then, because every instinct you had was being dismissed or questioned. Okay, let us go deeper into their side now, because their inner world is louder than they show. What lives beneath the surface is not simple regret. It is a war they fight, completely alone. Sitting with a version of themselves they do not recognize, the weight of it terrifies them. The confidence they carried before was never real. It was performance layered over deep insecurity. Every choice they made that hurt this connection came from a place they never wanted to examine. Fear drove them more than love ever did, and admitting that to themselves has been devastating. Patterns of avoidance took root so deeply that dismantling them felt like losing their entire identity. The first card we have here is the Moon, and this opens up everything they have hidden. The Moon tells me they lived in confusion, caught between what they feel and what they show. Nothing about their emotional world has been clear, and the fog around it only thickened over time. Stories they told themselves to justify their behavior. Those stories became the truth they operated from. Deep down, they knew the narrative was dishonest, but confronting it meant facing who they actually are. This card confirms that illusion was their comfort zone, and stepping out of it shattered them completely. A version of reality where their actions made sense existed in their mind, and it just collapsed. What sits at the core of their confusion is vulnerability, raw and completely unprocessed inside them. Growing up taught them that showing emotion meant losing control, and that belief poisoned everything quietly. Tenderness felt dangerous to them. Openness felt like exposure, and love felt like a trap they feared. The Moon also reveals that self-deception ran deeper, far beyond any lie they told another person. Their own dishonesty with themselves was so layered that the truth feels like a stranger arriving now. Accepting who they were inside this connection requires courage, the kind they are only beginning to find. The next card coming through is the Four of Cups reversed, and this confirms a major shift. Four of Cups reversed tells me they spent a long time emotionally shut down, refusing to feel. Numbness was chosen on purpose because feeling meant confronting what they had done to this bond. Apathy was their shield for months, and behind it, every suppressed emotion piled up without release. The reversal on this card says the numbness cracked open, and everything is flooding in at once. Controlling what they feel is no longer possible, and that loss of emotional grip is brand new. Grief they postponed is arriving without warning, and their capacity to process it is overwhelmed entirely. This reversal also tells me they are seeing opportunities they ignored, moments they wasted so carelessly. Every time love was offered freely, they turned away because receiving it felt undeserved to them somehow. Their inability to accept what was given came from believing, deep down, that they were not worthy. That unworthiness was never spoken out loud, but it shaped every reaction and every cold distance created. Warmth was pushed away because warmth required presence, and presence meant allowing themselves to be seen. Being seen meant risking rejection, and that fear kept them emotionally isolated for far too long. Following that, we see the King of Pentacles reversed, and this exposes their deeper motivational truth. King of Pentacles reversed tells me they built identity around control, stability, and external validation entirely. When the relationship challenged that identity, the response was rigidity rather than growth or adaptation. Their need to feel in charge of every situation left no room for emotional honesty or softness. This reversal confirms they valued image over intimacy, and that trade cost them everything that was real. The role they played inside this connection was protector and provider, but never partner or equal. Authority got confused with love, structure got confused with safety, and neither delivered what they craved. Their motivations were not rooted in cruelty, they were rooted in a desperate need to feel enough. Every controlling behavior traced back to a wound, one that whispered, abandonment waited, if seen fully. That wound predates this connection entirely, but it shaped every wall and every cold moment within it. The persona they maintained took enormous energy, and losing it has left them hollow and exposed. So what the cards show me now is movement. And this section is all about what happens next. This person is not sitting in their feelings anymore. They are preparing to do something about it. The shift from awareness to action has already begun, and the energy around it feels urgent and real. A decision is forming inside of them right now, and it involves reaching out to you directly. Going back and forth about how to approach you has consumed them, but the hesitation is fading fast. What held them back before was pride, but that pride has been stripped away completely at this point. The walls they used to hide behind are down, and nothing remains between them and forward motion. The first card here is the Eight of Wands, and this card is pure momentum coming through fast. Eight of Wands tells me things are about to accelerate, and the pace may catch you off guard. Messages are coming, conversations are being initiated, and movement toward you carries real intention behind it. This is not slow energy. This is rapid forward motion that has been building pressure for weeks. The card confirms that delays are over, excuses have run dry, and movement is already well underway. Words are being drafted in their mind, planned carefully, and rehearsed before they reach you with them. The delivery may not be perfect, but the urgency behind it is something they cannot contain anymore. Contact is imminent from their side, whether through a message, a phone call, or showing up directly. Eight of Wands does not appear unless action is already in motion, and this energy confirms it. The speed of this movement is not reckless, though. It comes from a place of desperate sincerity. Waiting any longer risks losing the window entirely, and that awareness is what pushes them forward now. Every excuse they used to delay has expired, and the only option left is to finally move. The next card coming through is the Page of Cups, and this tells me how they will approach. Page of Cups confirms that the approach will be emotionally open, stripped of all pretense and defense. There will be no games attached to this outreach, no manipulation, and no hidden agenda behind it. A gesture carrying innocence is what this card shows, like offering a heart without any conditions on it. Something honest is coming from them, and the delivery will feel raw, unpolished, and completely unscripted. Page of Cups tells me the message they bring is not rehearsed or performed. It is unfiltered truth. Expect something deeply personal, something that does not sound like the version of them you are used to. The tone will surprise you because it lacks the defensiveness you have grown so accustomed to hearing. A softness in their approach is confirmed here, brand new to them, and it catches them off guard. Leading with openness for the first time is their choice, and that shift speaks louder than words. There may be a letter involved, a voice message, or something requiring more effort than a quick text. The method itself carries meaning because choosing effort over ease is part of the message they send. Whatever form it takes, the intention behind it is to make you feel how serious this moment is. Following that, we see the Two of Swords reversed, and this confirms the decision has been made. Two of Swords reversed tells me the indecision is over. The paralysis that held them has broken. Weighing options and debating whether to act is over. The choice has been locked in completely now. The mental back and forth has ended, and clarity has replaced the confusion that kept them frozen. Choosing you is what this card confirms, and the direction they are moving in is deliberate and steady. This is not a maybe energy. This is someone who has crossed the line from thinking into doing. The blindfold is off and they see the full picture, including every risk that comes with reaching out. Rejection is a possibility they understand, and they are choosing to move forward with that knowledge anyway. Losing you permanently scares them far more than any rejection they might face at the door. The debate inside their own head has ended, and what remains is a clear and committed direction. Action is the only language they have left, and the cards confirm they are ready to speak it. There is no more rehearsal happening, no more overthinking, just a person ready to step forward and act. Every card in this section points to forward motion, direct contact, and a refusal to keep waiting. Now, this is what they would never say out loud, but the cards are speaking it for them. Confessions buried deep inside of them go further than anything their voice has ever carried. What lives in their silence is not just regret. It is a desperate longing they cannot name. Thoughts of you consume them more than they would ever admit, arriving at the most unexpected hours. Late at night, when distractions fade, your face is the only thing that stays behind their eyes. Reaching for you has been imagined 1,000 times, and every time, fear stopped them cold. The terror of being too late haunts them constantly, and that fear lives louder than anything else. The first card here is the Devil reversed, and this unlocks what they have chained inside themselves. The Devil reversed tells me they were addicted to control, and breaking free exposed every buried feeling. Without that control masking what was underneath, the raw truth of needing you surfaced without warning. Meeting anyone was something they swore they would never do, and discovering it undid them completely. This card confirms they fought against their own heart for as long as they could possibly manage. Loving you felt like weakness to them, and that belief kept them locked in self-sabotage for months. The confession they refuse to speak is that you own a piece of them, permanent and irreversible. Not in a possessive way, but in how your absence rewrote the way they experience everything around them. Food lost its taste, music lost its meaning, and mornings lost their purpose once you were gone. Distractions were tried as replacements for what you gave, and nothing came close to filling that space. The harder they tried to forget, the louder the memory of you became inside their quiet moments. The emptiness you left behind became living proof of how deeply you had woven into their world. No one else has ever reached the place inside of them that you touched, and they know it. Every connection attempted after you felt hollow, and the comparison crushed them without mercy each time. The next card coming through is the Six of Cups, and this reveals where their mind keeps drifting. Six of Cups tells me memories consume them, replaying the early days of this connection on a loop. The first time you laughed together lives in their mind, and that memory alone brings them to tears. What existed before the damage is what they mourn most privately, the version of this that was pure. The happiest they have ever felt was standing beside you, and nothing since has come close to matching. Six of Cups confirms the feeling behind the nostalgia is painfully genuine, not just sentimental longing. One specific memory keeps pulling them back, representing everything they carelessly and foolishly threw away. Holding on to that moment feels like a lifeline, because releasing it means accepting this might be over. The nostalgia is not just softness, it is grief dressed in golden light, and it aches without mercy. Privately, they admit, no chapter of their life has felt as alive as the one with you. Apologies are rehearsed in the mirror when no one watches, and none of them feel big enough. Words fail every time, because the weight of what needs saying sits heavier than language can carry. Following that, we have the Ace of Cups, and this is the deepest confession the cards reveal. Ace of Cups tells me love was never gone. It was buried alive, and it survived everything. What they feel now is not the old version of love. It is something rebuilt entirely from honesty. It terrifies them because this love asks for surrender, and surrender was never part of their language. The overflow of feeling they spent months trying to bury, this card confirms it never stopped growing. Imagining a future without you in it feels incomplete to them, like breathing with only one lung. Distance was supposed to heal this, but distance made everything worse, and silence made it deafening. Every day apart deepened what they tried to erase, and that deepening caught them completely off guard. The confession underneath it all is simple. They want you back, and they are terrified to say it. Hearing your name from someone else still stops them mid-sentence, every single time, without exception. Your name carries a weight in their chest, and no amount of pretending has lightened it. Being chosen by you is what they crave, not from obligation, but because you see them and stay. That desire for genuine acceptance, it lives underneath every other confession the cards revealed today. Okay, let us look at what is ahead for you now, because the near future holds something important. The cards show me that within the coming weeks, a conversation takes place that changes everything. This is not a surface level exchange. It is the kind of talk that reshapes this entire connection. The first card here is the Sun, and this tells me clarity is arriving fast on both sides. The Sun confirms that the fog is lifting, and what comes next carries warmth and understanding. Light is returning to this situation, and the surrounding energy feels open and genuinely honest for once. Healing is not instant, but the foundation for it begins forming in the days directly ahead. The Sun tells me a breakthrough is close, one where both of you finally see each other. Walls that stood between you will begin to lower, and that shift starts from their side first. What follows that opening is a window for real dialogue, the kind never possible before now. The next card is Temperance, and this confirms that balance is being restored to this connection. Temperance tells me the near future brings patience into the picture, something missing for too long. Rushing and reactivity are being replaced with measured steps, and that pace serves you both better. This card confirms the shift from chaotic to calm, and that calm creates needed space for truth. In the near future, you will feel a difference in how this connection sits inside your body. The tension that lived in your chest will begin to soften, and breathing around this gets easier. Temperance also tells